Okay, joining us now, House Oversight Chair James Comer. Chair, it's good to see you. So this FOIA lawsuit, this Freedom of Information Act lawsuit brought by the Southeastern Legal Foundation against the National Archives. You're working on the impeachment inquiry of President Biden. This bombshell revelation, how does it factor into your inquiry? The National Archives has 82,000 pages of emails where then Vice President Biden used at least 3 fake pseudonym email accounts. What's going on here? 82,000 pages? That's a stunning amount.
It's a stunning amount. 82,000 emails. They've produced 14. So they have 81,986 more to go. But this is how many instances Joe Biden used a fake name to conduct government business on his government email. So here we have a president that used a fake name, a pseudonym in a government email at least 82,000 times. We've learned that his company had at least 20 fake companies. We've learned that they were influence peddling with our biggest adversaries around the world. And what we're now learning through the bank statements is that they were laundering money. So this is a serious issue. And one reason we're concerned about the emails, obviously Joe Biden, in one of his many lies to the American people, said he had an absolute wall between the government and his family. That's not true. Many of those emails went to Hunter Biden and Hunter Biden's business associates. We know that. And the other concern is we fear that one of the emails on Hunter Biden's laptop, where he was emailing back and forth with Ukraine, where they were wiring his family millions of dollars, one of those emails reads like a government email. And it has all the characteristics of a classified government document. We want to know from National Archives, was that document one of the documents that Joe Biden mishandled between the vice presidency and the presidency? So we have a lot of questions for National Archives. Yeah. We want to know exactly which documents Joe Biden mishandled and where those 82,000 emails that he used fake names went to.
You said the Biden family laundered money. How do we know that?
We know that through bank statements. I mean, you're going to see more graphs that shows when wires would come in from places like China or Romania, they would launder them through various shell companies. And it's not my words, it's the words of 6 different banks through the suspicious activity reports. Remember, one of the first victories we had in this investigation was me gaining access to the Treasury Department. That's where they store these bank violations. So 6 different banks filed 170 suspicious activity reports on the Biden family, and the majority of those suspicious activity reports pertain to money laundering. This is a serious crime, and it wasn't just the president's son, it's also his brother as well.
James Biden. Okay, you know, the 82,000 pages, it's bigger than the 55,000 pages of emails former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, produced from her personal email account. I mean, that 55,000, that's about 30,000 emails for 55,000. So we could be talking about, I don't know, 55,000, 60,000 emails that the vice president was using during the Obama White House, possibly communicating government business while he was vice president to his family. Is that what you're going to be looking for? I mean, this is going to affect is that what you're going to be looking for? Because this could also affect Special Counsel Robert Hur's investigation into the president mishandling classified documents. Are you going to be looking for what government business was transmitted, possibly via these fake email accounts, to the Biden family?
Yes, Liz, absolutely. There's one email in particular that is an email of great interest to our investigation. And that's why we need to know from National Archives, was that email one of the documents that the vice president had in his possession? Because if so, that's clear evidence his son had access to these classified documents and was selling them. We also want to know what Joe Biden was doing hiding these emails in these pseudonyms. Look, we know one of those emails had Hunter copied, and it pertained to Ukraine. So much of the corruption in the Biden in the Biden past revolved around Ukraine. So we have a lot of questions for National Archives, and we expect them to give us answers.
Okay, Chairman James Comer, thanks for joining us. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me.